Namaskar. Welcome to this talk on role of correct understanding in life in the series Bhagavad Geeta in daily life. It is said that understanding is an art and not everyone is an artist. Though we all have our own understanding, but our understanding is very different, very variable. And what is the correct understanding is something quite debatable. There are differences in the perception of different people between husband and wife, between a parent and a child, between a teacher and a student. And that's why it creates a lot of issues, conflicts in life. So let us see what is that understanding that Shri Krishna provides us and how we can use this in our life. What is the importance of this kind of understanding? In the second adhyaya, when Bhagavan is giving us his divine message, Shri Krishna says about this intellect, this understanding, because it is it's the part of the intellect, which is our best gift that has been given to us human beings, which helps us to decide what we want to do, what we don't want to do. And this, if we can use it judiciously, it can really elevate us. If you use the right understanding to, in situations in day-to-day life, and then it can help us to remain calm, cool, peaceful, and avoid the ups and downs of life and smoothen our journey of life. Here in this shloka, Shri Krishna says, "Oh Arjuna, on this path there is only eka vyavasayatmika buddhi." There is only one determined intellect. But those who do not have this kind of a one-pointed intellect, those who don't have this decision power, then bahushakha yanantascha. Their notions are innumerable. They have lots of options, vikalpa, sankalpa, vikalpa. They keep discriminating. They keep thinking about the options, but they may not be coming to the right decision because they have avyavasaya. They have avyavasaya buddhi. They don't have a one-pointed intellect, and that itself shows that we should do all our actions with the right understanding, the correct understanding, right intellect, and the buddhi. So this determined intellect, vyavasayatmika buddhi, that Shri Krishna is talking about, Guruji tells us that where we need to use this determined resolve, and that we should use in goal setting. Number one, whatever our goals are in the life, somebody wants to become successful, somebody wants to become wealthy, somebody wants to transcend this world and achieve liberation from this. Whatever is the goal, but the goal has to be clearly defined. It has to be one. There may be many means in sadhana we can to use to reach that goal. We must have a proper understanding, and we should have determined intellect to resolve what kind of means that we'll use. And Shri Krishna tells us here that we should use the moral values, the universal values here to reach our goals, the worthy goals in our life. So there are many such means, and we need to keep walking charaiveti, because all the change happens very slowly. Shri Krishna says in the 6th adhyaya, shanaihi uparamed. Gradually we have to come back from all our false notions. We have to come back, and change gradually happens on the path very, very slowly. In the very well-known shloka of the second adhyaya, the Chatur Sutri shloka of the Karma Yoga, where Shri Krishna shows us the 4 main pillars of Karma Yoga. Karmanyavadikaraste. Your choice is only in the actions, Arjuna. You can only decide to choose what to do, what not to do. That is my choice. Ma phaleshu kadachana. It is not in the results of the action. We cannot completely determine what kind of result we will get. We may start with a particular desire to get a particular result, but it is not necessary that we may get the same result, as we call it, success or failure, profit or loss, or whatever the duality is, because there may be the result may be completely contradictory to what we had started or embarked on with the journey. And this karma phala is something which is not in our control. There are several factors which determine what kind of results or outcome we will achieve with our actions. And that's why doing our actions with the right understanding buddhi, and so that we don't develop more of bondage in this world. Mate sangha astu akarmani. Don't be attached to inaction. Don't be lazy. Bhagavan says, don't be akarma. Start or start or spring into action, be in karma. So in a nutshell, our choice is only in our actions, our efforts that we need to do, in the direction of the efforts, in the speed or the power of the efforts, or the kind of persistence of the efforts, in the patience, but not in the results or the outcome. We may get it later, but this karma phala theory is a very fair system. We can't see it overtly that we are getting an appropriate result. We may feel that this result is not appropriate to our efforts, our actions that we have put in. Some people say that I worked very hard, but I didn't get enough marks. That clearly shows that, the results that we expect may be completely different from what we may have anticipated, but this is something which is beyond our control. It's only that we should focus on the efforts which is in the present moment. We should not focus on the results, what we are going to get in the future, and that is what Shri Krishna tries to tell us. Ma karma phala hetu, don't be the cause for next birth actions. Do our actions with the correct understanding so that karmas don't bind us. This is very important for us to understand. That correct understanding is very, very important. Again, in the second adhyaya, Bhagavan says, when he's talking about karma yoga, that you should take the refuge or shelter of your intellect, buddhi, buddhau sharanam anvichya, he says. Arjuna, the selfish actions are very inferior to the selfless actions which are done with understanding for the benefit of more people, society at large. And we should take the shelter of our intellect. And those who work only for themselves, they are miser, krupana, palahetava. Those who work only for results, that I do this, I'll get this, I do this, I'll get this. So we are working just for the results, getting the results. And those people are krupana in the eyes of the Lord. They are miser, they have lost that goal of the life, they have lost the purpose of the life. They are just involved in this most of the times. Many of us are always involved in this kind of endeavors where we want to do something to get something, and that is where we focus on. Bhagavan Shri Krishna tells us to buddhau sharanam anvichya. And how we can do this? By having the right kind of thoughts, correct thoughts, by correct understanding, doing the right kind of viveka, discrimination, using our intellect to discriminate what is the correct thing to do, what is a moral, what is a wise thing to do, what is the ethical thing to do, having which is value based, and knowledge are given the highest priorities in our scripture. So vichar, vivek and gnana, which are the attributes of our buddhi, our intellect, given the highest priorities in our scripture. It is never said that you believe all this that has been said. It always tells us, the scriptures, Guruji, that we must use our yukti, our logic, to understand what is being told to us, with the giving all the reasons, with all the yukti, all the examples have been given to us to understand what is saying. One shouldn't be carried away by emotions, because most of the times what happens is that the mind is full of emotions, bhava, whereas it gets carried away and we take decisions based on these emotions. Instead, Shri Krishna is telling us that don't take decisions based on only emotions. Use your intellect, use your logic, use your brains, use your intellect to take the right decisions. And we should try to control our mind by our intellect. That is how we control the horses, by the lagam. Similarly, we can use our intellect to control our mind to take the right decision. And we should have the one-pointed goal, nishchayatmika buddhi, what Shri Krishna says, vyavasayatmika buddhi, that one-pointed eka, nishchayatmika buddhi. And if we don't have that kind of an understanding, we should take the help of a learned guru. We should take the shelter of a learned guru, shelter of the divinity who will guide us during periods of crisis. And this kind of an approach will definitely lead to our purity of our antakarana, our inner self, our mind, and this will help us on this path. In the fourth adhyaya, Bhagavan Shri Krishna describes about 12 different types of yagnas that we can do for our own self-restraint, for pranayama, yoga, dravya, yagna, lots of different yagnas he has described. And finally, he says that the knowledge yagna, the gnana yagna, is the best of them all. Ho parantapa, Arjuna who defeats the enemies. Parantapa has two meanings. Parantapayati, one who gives heed to the enemies. And Parantapa means one who has done a lot of tapa. In the previous birth, Arjuna and Shri Krishna were Nara, Narayana. As Nara, Arjuna, they are eternally in tapa in the Badrikashram area. And that's why he calls him Parantapa. Dravya Maya Yagnat. I have told you about a lot of different yagnas, including the Dravya Yagna. But out of all this, the Gnana Yagna is Shreya. It is Kalyankara. It is the best of all because it will give you the highest purpose. It will take you to Kalyan. It will take you to Moksha, the Shreya Gati, which is the highest Gati. And this is what Gnana Yagna will tell us. So Gnana is in Vedanta called the Sakshat Sadhan. It is ultimate or the final step to liberation. All the other steps like the Karma Yoga that we do, the Bhakti Yoga that we do, all the other Ashtanga Yoga that we do, all these are Sahayak Sadhana. They are complementary. They help each others to so that we become more focused, pinpointed, Antakaran Shuddhi. And finally then it's a Gnan which cuts the ribbon and gives us the liberation or the moksha. Sarvam karma khilam partha gnane parisamapyate. Shri Krishna tells Arjuna that all the actions finally end in knowledge, essentially signifying to us that we have to be in pravruti, karma yoga, and then by karma yoga, with purification, then finally we have to understand the divinity, the knowledge. That is how, though he said that there are two lokesmin dividanishta, pura prokta mayanaga, he said in the second adhyaya, in the beginning of the third adhyaya, that I have given you two paths, the pravruti marga and the nivrutti marga. But all the life we have to go through the pravruti marga, and through pravruti marga we have to then enter into the nivrutti marga with the right understanding or the right knowledge. That all the karmas we have to understand that are noted in our account. Whatever we do, that's why we should do it with awareness. We must be very aware what we do them. We must do them responsibly because everything is being noted in that supercomputer. Everything is being noted with what kind of attitude we do the karma also is being noted. And it's our pride that I am the doer, aham karomi, which binds us to all our actions. And that is the bondage of the karma. And karma eventually will give karma phala. We don't know when, how, where we will get the benefit, but there is a system which is a fair and a just system. We all have to endure our karma phala. Whatever happens to us today is some kind of a karma of the past which is giving the phala now. We may feel that why this is happening, why am I suffering, why I have to suffer, but we don't understand that there are some of the karmas of our past, of this life or the past life that we have to endure. And knowledge releases us from this bondage of karma. Bhagavan says, Sarvam karma kilam partha gnane parisamapyate. All the karmas are destroyed in the fire of knowledge. That is the power of the knowledge, Atma Gnana. And this Gnana Yagna is the best. We should all endeavor to get this divine knowledge that Shri Krishna is talking about in Geeta Ji. And it is only a balanced person who is in Samatva. In this shloka of the fifth adhyaya, Bhagavan talks about that person becomes eligible for this Atma Gnana. So this is also a kind of understanding how to remain balanced in all the situations, ups and downs of life. Life has its own dualities, its own success, failure, profit, loss, Shita, Ushna, all these dualities of life. It is a sthira buddhi whose intellect is focused, as a asammuda, one who does not have attachments or moha. And that person, whenever something he gets what he likes, he does not get too elated, neither he gets too upset when things come which he doesn't like, and that person is a balance or is in samatva. So this samatva buddhi is very, very important for us to become eligible for Atma Gnana, and that wise person will be established in the self-knowledge or Atma Gnana. So the journey of our life is from seeing the Bheda buddhi, all these different differences, to seeing oneness within all these differences. That is how gradually we have to evolve in our life. And relative equanimity or balance to absolute equanimity, the Purna Samatva, which is itself is the divine divinity, which is Brahma, is a Purna Samatva. And from a seeker, we have to go to being a wise person, a gnani person. And this is only with the correct understanding, with the correct knowledge, we can achieve this. So this Sthira Buddhi, my responsibility as a seeker, how we can achieve this Sthira Buddhi, that firm resolve. One says, one is in goal setting. What is the purpose of my life? I must discover that clearly, know that very clearly, and then must commit myself to this higher goal by doing all the efforts towards that goal, abhyasa, and whatever is needed, I must do it to regular reading, listening to the to Guru, or whatever needs to be done. I must commit myself for the higher goal. And finally then, with logic, I have to assimilate, understand this understanding, this divine knowledge that Shri Krishna is telling us. And in our life, if we can assimilate this, by our experience, understand that, say for example, happiness, our scriptures say that it is not outside, It is all a state of mind. It is all inside. And when we realize this, when we experience this, when we feel happiness, even without objects, we feel the satisfaction, the peace of our mind, and we understand this. That is how we learn with our own experience. We learn, and this is the best way to learn. So, this is how we can assimilate this knowledge in our life. Sammuda means one who does not have attachment. It is this moha, this attachment that dilutes our vision, colors our vision, does not allow us to see what is the right thing. And this moha is because of the I-ness, that I am this body, I am this limited self, this wrong notion that we have had. And that's why through this I have all the mind, those who are attached to me, my family, my friends, my colleagues, all those who are attached to me. I always feel that this is my house, this is my car, this is my wealth, this is my, all this my feeling. So this I and mine are the root cause of all the moha. But beyond this, the root is in the ajnana, the ignorance, the false identification to our body-mind complex. That is the, and Vedanta tells us very clearly that this is the root cause of the problem, to which is the main obstacle to understanding our Atma Swarupa, our real self, our real I. For this, we have to destroy this ajnana, moha, and that's how we can become asamudha, one who does not have any attachments. And this is nothing but a Gnani Purusha who does not have any identification to his body or mind, is nirmohi, does not have that kind of attachment. With this, they live in their life, and this is what we can aspire. In the 18th Adhyaya, Bhagavan shows that there are 5 factors which are responsible for any actions that we do. According to the Sankhya Shastra, he says, for whatever actions we perform, for the successful completion of all the actions, there are 5 factors which are responsible. And these 5 factors he describes are Adhishtanam, the body. We need to do all our actions with our body. So Adhishtan is here, term used for body. Karta. Karta is the doer, the jiva, who does it. And I am the doer, and whatever actions I do, they are bound to me as a jiva, who goes from one body to the other. So that kartrutva binds us. Karanam cha prathakvidam, all the tools, the 10 senses, the 5 jnanendriyas and the 5 karmendriyas which are important, are all the sadhana to do the karma. Jnanendriyas capture the information and karmendriyas do all the actions. Vividha cha prathak cheshta, all the types of different physical movements that we do, verbal movements, mental thoughts, all these movements, vibrations, everything. And finally, he says the 5th thing is the daivam. Daivam is the 5th factor, which is the destiny or the luck. Something we can say yadruchya, what is the God's wish here, that is prarabdha, we can call it destiny, ishwaricha. And this is something which is outside the jiva's control. You must understand very clearly that there is this factor. We may call it past karma, we may call it destiny, we may call it luck, we may call it anything. But this is something which is beyond our control, how we get the fruits of our actions or results of our actions. So in this schema of karma and karma phala, each karma produces its appropriate karma phala. Definitely, there is no doubt about it. What we reap, we sow. What we sow, we reap. Each being will get this sooner or later. We have to endure this. Nothing, there are different types of karma. We are not going to do the details of sanchita karma, the prarabdha karma, but it is that it is our present actions that creates our future destiny. And whatever we are enduring today is because of our past karma. This understanding is very important, and that's why our actions are most important. How we can do these actions with utmost care and concern, because careless actions will produce disastrous results. That's why we should do all our actions with utmost awareness, so that we don't create the next karma phala which will bind us in the future. And careful actions will produce elevating results for us, because whatever we sow, we reap. And that's why if we sow well, good karmas, then we reap the good things in our life. Finally, in the 18th Adhyaya, while concluding his message to the mankind, Shri Krishna tells Arjuna that I have given you this divine knowledge, which is the most mysterious and the hidden secret. Guhyat Guhyataram. It is the most secretive type of a hidden secret knowledge. Now you have to take the decision what is the right thing to do. You think about it in totality, properly, completely. Don't just pick up few sentences here and there and take a decision. He says, Asheshena. You think about it in totality, properly, go through this. In the next two shlokas, he concludes the entire message of Geeta ji. And he says, do what you feel is appropriate. Tetchasi tatha kuru. You do whatever you feel is appropriate. And this is the greatness of a wise teacher. A great teacher gives freedom to the student. He teaches him everything that he needs to learn, but then he has a faith that the student will take the right decision. He will have the trust that the student will take the right decision, and that's why he gives the decision to the student. And finally, Arjuna says, he accepts and surrenders to the Lord. See the greatness of the student also. He says, "O Krishna, with your grace, Tvat prasadat maya achyuta, my delusion, my moha has been destroyed. I have now come back to my senses, my own swarupa. I have realized my senses, because that moha was the ignorance, the darkness, the ajnana, which has now been destroyed, and I can see my swarupa very clearly. I am now gata sandeha. I don't have any doubts what is the correct thing to do. Karishye vachanam tava, and I shall do whatever you tell me to do. You have already told me that I must fight this war because it is dharma yuddha. I should do my duties well. I should do my duties with utmost understanding, with using my intellect, buddhi, and I will do whatever you have said." And Bhagavan, Arjuna answers and says the purpose is served. All that his moh has been destroyed. So to summarize this talk, Shri Krishna tells us to have a one-pointed, determined intellect. This kind of a focus intellect is something that we can develop over a regular practice. It is not easy because our mind keeps wandering all the time. It cannot remain steady and focused, and that's why we need to steady our mind and our intellect. Our choice is only in our actions or efforts, not in the results or the outcomes. That has been clearly made clear from the Karmanye Vadikaraste shloka. But take the shelter of our intellect. Even in those shlokas of Karma Yoga, Bhagavan says Karma Yoga is nothing but working with the right understanding, with the right attitudes, with the correct understanding. It is not that we have to change our outside karma. What we have to change is something inside us, the attitude with which we do our karmas, whether it is for our selfish gains or whether it is for the selfless gains for the people around us. And out of all the yagnas or all the actions, endeavors, projects that we do, the knowledge yagna is the best. So we should devote some time, our time, to understanding this divine knowledge in our life. And with this knowledge, all our actions finally end, because the knowledge is so powerful that it will destroy all the karmas. And only a balanced person who is in samatva is eligible for this kind of a goal, the gnana, the divine knowledge. And the main obstacles are the attachments, the moha, myself, I, trutva, that I-ness, my false identification to this limited body-mind complex. And through this identification, I feel that all this belongs to me, that I and the mind are the main cause of the moha. And we must remember that there is a fifth factor, that is the destiny or the luck or Ishwaricha as we call it. And whatever we do today, whatever we sow today, we will reap in the future. That's why we should be very, very careful. We should act with a lot of understanding, with a lot of awareness, with a lot of responsibility for any action that we start or we perform. And this is what is the summary of Geeta Ji. And this correct understanding can only be provided to us by our scriptures. And sometimes it is difficult for us, most of the times it is difficult for us to understand the true meaning of the scriptures. And that's why we need a learned guru in our life to make us understand the nuances of the scriptures, to give us the right kind of the message from what Shri Krishna talks in Geeta Ji or any of the other scriptures of Vedanta like Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, and the other scriptures. And here, in all our scriptures, understanding and knowledge is something that has been celebrated. It is that intellect, that intelligence we should use. We should not just blindly follow what has been said. And this understanding forms the crux of our life, the correct understanding in our life. So with this, we come to the end of this talk. I pay my gratitude towards Ishvara, with whose grace everything is possible. I pray to this Guru Shishya Parampara through which this knowledge is preserved, transmitted so as to reach us. I pay my respects to my Guruji, Pujya Guruma, with whose grace I am able to learn the scriptures and share this understanding with you. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parah Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.